Hi, Cassandra. Thank you so much for coming in and having a chat with me today. Well, not actually coming in, but joining me today and having a chat. How are you going?
Yeah, really well. Thanks, Sarah. How about yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Really
Yeah.
good. Did you have a nice Christmas?
It was lovely. Yeah, had some really spent some time with some old and new people and family. So it turned out to be a lot busier than I thought it would be. So
Oh,
yeah, it's been nice to just sort of rest and catch up a little bit this week before the new year starts.
yeah. No, that's great. All right. So to start with, Cassandra, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been doing astrology for a while now. I've had an interest in it since as long as I can remember, to be honest. My mum used to buy magazines like Cosmopolitan and Clio and what have you, and Dad would buy the Sunday paper. And so with that, I just loved reading the horoscopes. And so that's where my first interest in astrology came about. And through that, I would just read and study the horoscopes and get used to the language. And my friends at school, I'd be able to sort of kind of go, oh, they're this and that, and understand them a little bit more. And that's all I thought astrology really was. And then when I was in Sydney, I was at work one day and a colleague said to me, oh, I'm going to an astrology class tonight. And, my ears pricked right up and I was like, what? And she said, yeah, got a teacher, blah, blah. And I had no idea. So I pretty much signed up then and there and just sort of got so involved in it because it's a very rich and deep subject. And then it just sort of morphed into where I am today. And so that's what I do full time along with my little boy. So, yeah, it's very busy. And so I'm a Cancer for anybody that wants to know. So, that's me.
Okay, so what would be some of the misconceptions about astrology?
Firstly, that it's just horoscopes. It's way more than that. Astrology was devised and conceptualized over many centuries. And so we actually had a bit of history where astrology, through the Dark Ages, it was basically almost erased from the planet. And so what we have got today in our astrological community is a bit of a renaissance in a lot of the old and ancient techniques. So we're really starting to be able to get a lot more accuracy with what we do. But at the same time, it's not a crystal ball either. So astrology is a really valuable tool for, I find, spiritual guidance for people and to help them navigate new territory. So we still want to do things that we want to do with our life. We still want to move ahead with plans and projects, but the astrology describes the weather. So what do we need to take with us? Will we need an umbrella or our hats and 50 plus sunscreen? So it just helps us navigate the terrain. Like we don't go to a new place without our GPS. And so the astrology is a bit like our celestial GPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Cassandra, where do you get your inspiration from? So your astrological or, your inspiration to do with astrology?
I'll just grab it for you. This is, I'm not sure if this is where, I'd have to say this is probably where we get our inspiration from. It's called the Ephemeris. And for up until this book, up until 2050, it has every possible planetary configuration. Wow. And so at any given time, let's say May 2026, I can tell you where the planets will be. Now, that is sort of where the information comes from, I suppose, but the inspiration, I get it through so many avenues. And so one thing I do encourage with my students is once you get an understanding of a certain planetary energy, where does that show up in your life? So, for example, we have Mercury retrograding right now, and we've had about a 45-minute delay in this interview due to technical issues. So, and it just helps you sort of pinpoint things. I get it from movies, I get it from songs, I get it from poetry, writers, all sorts of things. Just ways to describe planetary energy without describing planetary energy, I guess. So I also get massive motivation and inspiration from other astrologers too. It's a very close-knit and a great supportive community.
Yeah. So my next question was going to be, but I think that you kind of answered it there as well, is what you do to practice what you teach and share. So, yeah.
Sure. Well, I do teach astrology, so I have students online. I also do lectures and workshops mainly around Brisbane. I also attend different psychic expos and spiritual expos, helping share my knowledge through astrology and give guidance for people. I'd write horoscopes and all sorts of things as well. So it's kind of a lots of fingers in different pies, but doing astrology all through. So yeah.
And I just put this up while you were talking there, you didn't notice, because you did the astrology for.
I did do a little horoscope for you.
You did it for. You did, yeah. It's really good. So, do you want to go through a little bit about each of the signs?
Sure. Well, one thing that we did want to discuss was the new moon coming up. So it was kind of cool, divine timing that we've had this little delay, because it just brought us that little bit closer to the new moon. So I'm not sure when you're actually going to put this online, but we're just about an hour shy of the new moon. So it's the last new moon of 2016 and moving into this, fresh new sort of calendar energy, I guess. So a lot of people I've been talking to this week, clients, check out Chick at Woolies, what have you, felt really tired this week. And I did write a post about that on my website because I was one of them. Just really need to rest, relax and retreat. And I guess sort of contemplate and all of those sorts of things. And so in an hour's time, we've got a fresh new moon to start a fresh new year. So it's a really great vibe for starting fresh, which is what the new moon is about, which occurs each month. And so each month we have a new moon in a different sign. And so this time around, because the sun is in Capricorn, the new moon will be in Capricorn. And so it's a really great opportunity to manifest, to make wishes, to make plans. And I suspect too that with this, we have a lot of New Year's resolutions at this time of year, but with the new moon to back that up, I think a lot of it might hold a little bit more water and a little bit more stability and longevity than joining the gym for the first 3 weeks of the year. So if weight loss is your goal, maybe you've got a bit of extra oomph behind that this time. So what I thought I'd offer for everybody is, at least with their star sign, their star/sun sign, go through the list of what area of life this Capricorn new moon will fall in, and what you can kind of wish for, hope for, or manifest or work towards in sort of the next 12-month period. And if you do happen to know your rising or ascending sign, I'd suggest you go with that one. So, if you happen to be, say, a Leo, but you've got Gemini rising, go with the Gemini. So I say, if you're an Aries, the new moon falls in your 10th house of career. So if you're wanting to make some plans or progress at work, this is a really good time to sort of, strategically set your plan. What is it that you want to achieve in the next 12 months regarding your career, your public image, and your reputation. Taurus, it falls in the 9th house, this new moon. So it's a good opportunity for Taurians out there to really, do you want to study? Do you want to travel? Do you want to sort of somehow involve technology or the internet in terms of really growing a personal project? study to do with philosophy, expanding the mind, maybe a university course or something a little bit more beyond what you're doing. Travel plans are also big with the new moon in your ninth house. Geminis or Gemini risings, 8th house energy for you guys. So it's about planning your money. So investments, taxes, debts, super, all that sort of stuff. You've got a credit card debt. Okay, let's break it down in chunks and pay that off. So it's a bit of a other people's money kind of energy as well for you. Maybe making a financial plan for this year would be a good way to start. Cancerians, it's all about relationships for you guys right now. And so maybe setting some boundaries or some new, setting some new seeds or new roots in an existing relationship. So, what is it that you want out of love and partnership with other people? Not just the romantic partner, but that is sort of the most important one. For Leos, in the 6th house. So this is really about time management. How are you spending your time on a day-to-day basis? Where can you cut back or refine or get a little bit, when it comes to the Capricorn, it comes back to strategy, strategic planning. Are you wasting your time from day to day, or do you need to sort of, okay, let's, schedule our time and make the most of it? Also health and wellness and illness is a part of the 6th house too. Virgos, it's all about 5th house, fun, have some fun, get out there. Also children, romance, sex, all that sort of stuff. So if you want a bit more love in your life, a little bit more fun, then this is a great new moon to start wishing for that. Libra, it's 4th house. So this is family, home and family, domestic life, your past, your roots, your ancestry. So your domestic scene needs a little bit of attention at the moment. So put a little bit of focus on that. So you might need to sort of stay home this New Year's Eve. Now, Scorpios, it's your 3rd house. So your 3rd house of communication, siblings, your neighbours. So you might just want to do some short trips right now rather than sort of any big holidays. Maybe a little weekend away would be really awesome for you guys with this new moon. Sagittarian. So for people with Sag and Sag rising, it's money. Okay, guys. So if you're really wishing to boost that income, particularly this year, set some plans, set some budgets, or think about doing things a little bit differently if you're wanting to boost your income. Focus on what's coming in rather than what's going out. Capricorn, all about you. So what do you wish for this for you? What do you wish for this year? Maybe investing some time, energy, or money into personal development. Some personal growth, a little bit of healthy selfishness is called for right now. So what do you want to do just for yourself? And Aquarius, this happens in the 11th house of your friends. So this is the luckiest house of your birth chart. So wish big, for friendships, networks, connections, allies, alliances. Traditionally, this is also known as the house of good spirits. So manifesting and wishing is a really good opportunity for you with the Capricorn new moon falling here. Get your pens and papers out in about an hour's time and really just, make a list of 8 to 10 things that you really want in that area of your life. And you'll probably find that making plans, wishes and goals that align with astrological energy, you're flowing with the tide rather than against it.
Great. I'm not sure that I'll have this up in time, but any new moon anyway. It's not, we're just in one today, but it's, do that for any new moon. Yeah, well, that's it. But each new moon, it will be in a different house for you, according by sign. But, I update that on the website. So, people can always follow that too. Yeah, I was going to say that. Follow your website. Follow your
Thank you.
And I also want to say that Cassandra's actually doing a live on Spiritual Events and Directories Facebook page, our first live. So I want to do more of them in 2017. So Cassandra's doing our first one, and that's on the 3rd of January at 7:30.
Yeah, so Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, yeah. Exciting. Is it your first live?
It's my first proper live. I have done one briefly, just a fun one at an expo. But this is going to be my first live, so I'm really looking forward to it. So I have been planning it a little bit over the last couple of days. So what I want to do for everybody is just give you a bit of a heads up at the astrological energy that we're all entering this year. So depending on your individual chart, I mean, some people can go through a year and it's barely a blip on the radar. Other people, it's, they just get really nailed by it. And so each of us will trigger plug into the current planetary energies in different ways. Yeah. And so this will just be an overview of the weather, the weather forecast, and just not make predictions so much, but more talk about how it's going to feel. Yeah. So how it's going to feel in comparison to the year we've just had, which for a lot of people have found quite challenging. But I think the challenges that we've had of 2016 have really set the scene for some really good adjustments, set the tone for much needed adjustments for 2017. So there'll be a lot more action, a lot more movement, and depending on how many people join us, hopefully we'll be able to, answer a few questions and maybe have that opportunity. Oh, but what about my chart? And and help guide some people that might be having some individual funky transits. Yeah, so that'll be really good. Right, so, well, thanks so much for having me on, Sarah. I'm really looking forward to joining you again on Tuesday evening live. So that's 7:30 our time and then 8:30 for the southern states. We'll be checking out the astro weather for 2017.
Lovely. I really look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me.
All right, then. See you Tuesday.